Hello and welcome to Composer Technologies webinar on how to convert Oracle Forms applications to ADF. This is your host, Matt Brunquell. Before we get started, I want to review a few housekeeping items. For those of you new to Composer Technologies, we're part of a publicly traded software company, Daegis. And Daegis was previously known as Unify and has been in business for over 30 years. And we're known for being the first to deliver a relational database in the Unix environment. Since then, we've delivered development software products that run across different databases and platforms geared towards building and modernizing business applications, and to the business application developer who places a premium on productivity over low-level coding. Now, our modernization business has been expanding over the past 6 years, and now it's its own division called Composer Technologies. Now, we encourage questions on the webinar, and the way you do that is to use the Q&A button on your WebEx toolbar. It's the button with the question mark, and there's also a chat button, but it makes it easier for Khalid and I to look in one panel for the questions to make sure we address all of them. Now, I mentioned Khalid, that's Khalid Bey, who will be providing the demonstration portion today. Khalid is our Director of Migration Services, and he's been involved in both Oracle Forms upgrades as well as Oracle Form conversion projects into Java. And a long time ago, programmed in Forms himself. So it's a great opportunity to have someone with his background and experience on Oracle Forms demonstrating today. Now, with that, let's review the agenda. But before I do, just 1 second, I want to make sure everyone's getting the sound, because I just received a message that someone can't hear me. But let me just look for confirmation that others can hear me, just to make sure that we've got our audio going all right. Nope, I'm getting a message that audio is okay. Thank you for all of those that responded. All right. So with that, we're going to review the agenda. So the objective for today's webinar is to provide you with information on converting Oracle Forms applications to browser-based Java applications in Oracle ADF. Now, we'll start with an introduction that includes an overview of Composer Technologies and Cyphersoft, and then we'll provide a brief overview of Oracle ADF. Now, ADF is a very expansive topic. Probably many of you that are on the webinar today have become aware of that. So what we're going to do is focus on the user interface components, since today's webinar is about conversion to a browser-based application in ADF. And we'll also look at the key considerations for the Java conversion in general. Now, we'll follow this with a demonstration just so you can see how easy it can be to convert an Oracle Forms application into Java and ADF. We'll use ADF components for the user interface layer, and then we'll follow this with a Q&A session. Now, Ciphersoft is a part of Composer Technologies, and Ciphersoft is an established and very successful set of solutions for modernizing Oracle Forms applications. We're a member of the Oracle Modernization Alliance, or OMA. The OMA is an Oracle initiative to help customers modernize their legacy applications and infrastructure. And Ciphersoft, the Ciphersoft solutions are all about modernizing Oracle Forms. Now, Oracle ADF stands for Application Development Framework, and it's Oracle's Java framework for building enterprise applications. In fact, their own ERP suite of applications, the e-business suite, has been transitioning into JDeveloper for quite some time. Now, in order to support enterprise applications, it supports many different Java technologies and components. If you wanted to build a Java EE application with a model view controller or MVC architecture from scratch, ADF offers a persistence layer, a model layer to build the code upon, and ADF is included with the Oracle Application Server license. However, ADF can be purchased or licensed separately from the Oracle Application Server stack to be deployed on other app servers. In fact, we have some customers that do that today. Now, we don't have time to go into all the different Java technologies of ADF, but for today's webinar, we want to touch on ADF Faces. ADF Faces is a set of graphical components for building rich user interfaces in a browser or thin client. And the user interface or UI components have built-in properties, much like the UI components in Oracle Forms. So applications converted with our solution are Java EE applications with an MVC architecture that can use the ADF UI components in the presentation layer. Now, there's only a few component examples listed on the slide, but it's important to note that the number of components was significantly expanded in ADF 11G. The number of components went from approximately 100 in ADF 10G to about 150 in ADF 11G. And just as key to that is the built-in properties for those controls or components were expanded as well. And this is very important when you're trying to create the rich functionality of a client-server forms application in a thin client environment. ADF Faces, by the way, is built on the open standard Java Server Faces, or JSF, but then Oracle took those JSF components and extended them in order to have those extra properties and more of the behavior and functionality that you find in controls and things like forms applications. So a migrated application should be as intuitive for the original developers to maintain as it is for new developers who have no experience in the technologies used to write the original software. So practically speaking, this means your vendor of choice should provide a one-to-one conversion in the code as much as this is possible. The impact on the end users of the application need to be considered as well. Reproducing all of the functionality of the application is not enough. It needs to behave similarly over in the new environment in order to avoid retraining on the application. For applications with large number of users, avoiding retraining can be a significant cost savings. And we hear that a lot from our end users, especially when they have a large number of users using the app. When it's converted, they really want to minimize the disruption to those users so that they can continue using the application as much as they have in the past. The other key to this is customers can also use the same scripts for testing functionality from the Oracle Forms applications with this like-for-like conversion approach. Our customers find this is a lower risk approach, so they migrate the application over so that it behaves and navigates for the users much as it did on the Oracle Forms side. And then once they have it over into the new platform, then they look at longer term modernizing and extending the application. This way they're only changing one thing at a time, a much safer approach. They realize that rewriting the application from scratch, users will end up having to navigate differently, and successfully testing all of that functionality that's been rewritten becomes very challenging if you're changing the user experience at the same time as well. It also makes resolving errors in the new application more difficult if you can't compare it directly to what the original Forms application was like. Now, this is this graphic here illustrates some of the keys to creating a path for the developers. We've been talking about the end user side of things, but this graphic illustrates some of the keys to creating a path for the developers involved in a migration project, whether they're the original Forms developers or they're Java developers. So in addition to producing clean Java code, keeping the file structure of the components and objects organized, much as they were in the Oracle Forms project, provides a reference point both for the original Forms developers as well as the Java developers that they can follow. And in the case of Oracle Forms developers, this also eases the learning curve in Java. In fact, when I make Khalid a presenter here, he'll be demoing this. You'll see this when he goes into the the converted code, but you'll see that the project is organized much the same way in the Java IDE, as well as the naming conventions even of the objects and the triggers, and that is maintained as much as can be with the parameters of Java naming syntax. Now, as shown in the previous slide, Oracle Forms knowledge is rewarded, and keeping the terminology and the object and method names, as I mentioned, and the class hierarchy helps tremendously in reducing the learning curve for Oracle Forms programmers and makes the transition to Java as smooth as possible. However, keep in mind that the generated application now is 100% Java. It's a Java EE application, and in the generated architecture, all the key concepts and fundamental principles of object-oriented programming can be easily identified. So you will see well-known Java design patterns as well as classes, inheritance, interfaces, packages, polymorphism, method overloading, Java data types, I mean, on and on and on. The application is, once you have this converted with this solution, can be maintained and extended in almost any Java IDE. Now, this illustration just shows a few examples at the application business logic layer, and we can go into the architecture in more detail during the demo. But we also have a white paper available as well that provides more of a technical overview of the architecture. And then we'll also, in the demo, take a look at the presentation layer that uses the ADF UI objects. Now, with that, let's demonstrate the conversion step in a migration project. And that's where I'll turn this over to Khalid. But some key points to keep in mind during the demonstration. We're going to convert the Oracle Summit application. So this won't be as complex as many of your applications out there, but it has a lot of the components you would find in your more complex applications. So you'll see when we bring up the Oracle Forms app first, it has a menu, it has libraries, and it has business logic in addition to the forms. This is also a full conversion. So we're going to convert this entire Forms app into Java. But note that you can choose to just do pieces. For example, you could just convert the PL SQL. Or once converted, once you convert the whole app, you might choose to go back and just convert the presentation layer into a different option. And this is one of the benefits of an application that's in Java, where the presentation layer and the business logic and the data access layer have all been separated out for more of an SOA type of approach. Now, we're also going to show, in this case, a like-for-like conversion with the presentation layer deployed in a browser. Obviously, there are some differences based on what you can do in a browser, but you're going to see pretty much the same navigation and flow of the app. And then we'll review some of the Java code of the converted business logic and presentation layer. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Khalid as a presenter. Give me 1 second. I have to also unmute Khalid so you can all hear him. Khalid, you should be unmuted and now a presenter. Can you hear us, Khalid?
Yes, I can hear you, but can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a little faint. You may have to speak up a little bit.
Okay, I will try to speak a little bit louder. Is it better now?
That is better.
Okay, so I'm going to share my desktop here in a second. Matt, can you make the presenter also?
Yes, I already made. Oh, well, I tried to make you presenter. Let's see if we can do that again. Here we go. Now you're the presenter.
Yes. So, hi everyone, and what I'm going to do is share my desktop first of all to start the demo process or technical side of this webinar. So what I'm going to do is show you how the Summit application, which consists of 3 forms, two libraries, and one menu would be converted from Oracle form environment all the way to Java ADF base. So the application that is in Oracle form environment, you should be able to see on my screen, shows the first form, which is your customer form. And customer form is it's not like a typical complex application. It is like, I would say, from medium complex application with 3 forms, which however include most of the components that you will be able to see in Oracle form, like for example master, detail relationship, for example a tree structure, changing dynamically the tree structure by selecting like the different order, example, for example select this one, change, there is a detail of the other 2 forms are like order form, example order form is like
Hey Khalid,
yeah.
you're going faint again.
Okay.
There, that's stronger.
Okay.
It must be your microphone on your yeah.
So and there is like content canvas. You can see right here there is a content canvas and image on dynamically. So and then the third form basically is a big form just with the images and selecting from left to right and all those things. So this is basically a Summit typical application. So what I'm gonna do is start my conversion process, and then basically the conversion tool that we provide is in a zip format that you can unzip any folder and then start using it. So in here you can see there is an output folder where the converted code will go, and then there is a Tomcat application server where I will deploy the application under this webhouse, which is empty at this time. So this is the conversion tool here, right here. You would be seeing that there is not too much on this screen. There are few inputs that you have to provide, and then obviously there is a connection string for the database, and I'll talk about that database connection in a second. First process is your form. What processes you have to run, for example. We normally recommend that you should run library SQL like the DLL files first, convert them first, and menus, and then form. So that's the process I will follow to do for conversion. For package name, you can use any package name. We normally use like form and the company name and the application name. Like if you are whatever your company name is, whatever else. The third option here is to choose like what presentation layer you want to normally this demo I will show you Oracle ADF.
You're going faint again, Khalid.
Okay. I'm trying to speak as loud as possible. So is it better now, man?
Much better.
Okay. So this is what I'm gonna do is for presentation layer I will go with the Oracle ADF version. And the last option on this top window you would see is character encoding. Like if you are in Europe or using like or using a French or German or any other character set, then you can change it here so the conversion can handle all those special characters automatically. Input folder, output folder, where the forms files are, where the Java classes will go. Connection string we only use for reference purposes because forms sometimes use a variable that depends on the table column. So we are using for that purpose only. We are not writing anything on database, not reading any data from the database, it's just for reference purposes. So first thing what I'm gonna do is start the conversion, and first the conversion process I'm choosing is library because it is only a PL SQL code. There is no presentation option to choose from. So I'm selecting this library code, the browse. I select these both libraries here, put them on the right side, and press the convert to. And as soon as I press the convert button, you will see there is a log file that appears here, and that log file will show for every process you would run, and it will be for every day. So for example, if you are running some conversion today and some conversion tomorrow, it will keep a log file for today as well as tomorrow. So down the road in a month or 2 months time, if you want to see what you have done 2 months back, you would be able to come back and see what processes you run, what libraries you run, what steps you took, what errors and warnings appear during these log file processes. The second thing I'm going to do is the menu conversion. There is only one menu in this process. As menu also has a presentation layer, so I'm going to use ADF for that purpose. Select the menu here, which is Submit. Press open. Since there is only one menu, I don't have choice that you saw under libraries like left and right selection. So you press the convert button. It's a small menu, so it converts fine. It shows all the processes run successfully. At the same time, on the left side, you will be seeing that it is creating all the classes or Java code required for the purpose of conversion. So I'm gonna go and say select form. I select my ADF, browse, select all the three forms here. Gives me option to file which are open, which files to convert would be on the right side. I'm gonna select all three and then say convert. Once the conversion is done, you would see that all the processes run successfully. There are several processes running in the conversion process. Basically, we parse the PLC code from the forms which are present in the triggers or the program units. And we created the Java classes for that. And the second pass is for the presentation layer, like list of values and canvases and other things which are appearing on the screen. We take them on the second pass and convert the proper JSF files for the purpose of displaying on the ADF application. The last step what we provide here as a facility is like not required, but for the facility is to create a WAR file. Since you have converted all the forms and the libraries and menus, what you can do is you can create a WAR file, which is a template WAR file, and you can continue using that WAR file for the purpose of the rest of the project, basically, as you are moving for more conversion or adding more forms to do some more processes or things like that. So what does it do is select which presentation WAR file you want to create. What is the main form? Because most of the application in the forms we've seen is that there is one driving form or one driving menu. In this application, submit application, customer is the driving form that will call the order form or a pick form. So I'm going to say this is my main form that will appear when I will run the application for the first time. Do I have to compile my Java code, which we just converted through the previous conversion processes? I would say yes, and then it will try to compile. If there is no Java compilation problem, then it will create the Java classes. If there is, then it will tell you that there is no Java class created. So I'm gonna say generate, and then you can see here that on the left side on the browser it creates this web module. It is compiling the Java classes now. Once it is done, it says it is done. So once the conversion is done, then and you have created your WAR file, the second step is to deploy that WAR file. The WAR file can be deployed like for the purpose of development or for testing. We normally do it on Tomcat in-house, but at the end of the day, when you want to go production, you can choose any application server of your choice, like for example WebLogic, Oracle application server, or WebSphere, or any other application server that you want to for production purposes. For development, in-house we use Tomcat and JDeveloper as an IDE, but again, it's your choice, whatever you want to use. And so what I'm going to do is take my WAR file from here, put it under Web apps. Once it is there, I will start my Tomcat server that will deploy this application. There's a Tomcat this one. But the main thing here is to see that once the application is deployed on the server, you will see express server counter successfully. That's the message that means the deployment is done. and you would see that there are a folder structure created. I will talk about that folder structure in a minute. Let's first run this application. So once it is there, I'm gonna start the browser. This is a browser-based application since it is on my machine, so I'm gonna say select localhost. If it is on a different application server or a different machine, then you can provide just the name of the machine with the port number. It would run. Login screen is the same as you would see in Oracle form. You can skip this login screen by provided hard-coded username password as you can do in Oracle Forms application. Or if you want the user to type their username password, you have to provide the login screen as you can see here. Pressing OK, it should open my first form, which is the customer form, as we have provided during the template creation. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller so we can see the Oracle Forms application that I was showing you before versus this one. So again, look and feel and background colors and the colors of different items, these can all be handled now with a cascade style sheet file. So you can have an application void, like the font size and background colors of the canvases, background colors of the items or the font colors, and all those things can be handled. Those used to be handled in Oracle Form through visual attributes. Now what we do is we create the CSS file, and then you can use that CSS file to do whatever visual attributes you want to use. So the same thing, like if you see that if you select this view by sales graph, there is a when list item change trigger that would be fired, and it will change the order and refresh the tree accordingly. So if I do the same thing on Oracle Form side, you will see that the order is same. So I select the main one. It will show all the four entities on the right side, which are the sales graphs here in this one. And the same thing is here. Like the tabs are there, which is the functionality of ADF. There is a list of value. Similar to what you normally see in Oracle Forms, for example. You can see list of value. On ADF side, it will look like that. You can use the search functionality. You can do other things here. If I go back, for example, on customer selection, and I select this one, Unisport, I can go in here, select Unisport. I can double click, which is when mouse double click. I can use it in ADF also. It will open my order form. The only thing you would see, since ADF is a HTML page compiled on the server, there is no like the background at the back. Like and here you can see there are like two windows. One is active, the other is not active. But in here you will only see one form, which is active form, which is order form here. So on a stock, we can do the same thing in here. You can display stock. Obviously, again, this is a page. You can close this. Go back here. Image on, image off. The same thing. You can dynamically create image on, image off. The content canvas can come on top of it. And look and feel. You can see all the look and feels are video buttons, checkboxes, everything. Last form I'm going to open quickly is just for the purpose of pick form, that is the last form that shows images, how images are displayed and all those things. So when you exit out, obviously there would be an alert on top of it. Alerts are covered in the product and ADF side, so you can see alert same here. Do you want to leave? You can say yes. And go back to the customer form as you were saying before. So that's the demo part. So first of all, what we did the conversion. The second thing we did is deployment, and the third thing is we ran the application. We saw if there is any like layout issues, we fix those layout issues and we move forward. The last thing I'm going to show in this demo is the before and after code, how the before code used to look in the PLC pull and form environment and how it is converted in Java basically. I'm going to open my JDeveloper right here and forms environment forms. Okay. So under forms, before forms actually I would like to say what the structure when you deploy this the source code, you would see that the one that I was showing in the conversion tool, that there is if I go back quickly just for a second, there is a package named forms, sportsco and summit. That package name is translated right here like as the package name like forms, sportsco and summit. Under Summit, all the three forms will be get converted. Under Sportsco, which is the company name, you will see a package called library. Under libraries, there are two libraries that we converted, and each library will have the Java code, which you can see. Okay, this is the Java code for calendar lib, and this is the Java code for step list. So this is the structure which is somewhat similar to what Oracle Forms provided, and especially like in the case of Oracle, the forms itself, so you can see that there are three forms we converted: customers, orders, and spec. And the same is, I'm going to take an example for customers. There are triggers, form level triggers. There are alerts. There are data blocks. There are canvases and other things. So the same is being converted in this Java structure. You will see that the form name remains form name, and the thing that what we normally do when we are converting, to keep the forms names, trigger name, program unit names, even the built-in that we use like in Oracle Form, like for example, go block, go item, all those things are kept the same way. So for me as a form developer, moving to Java application like this ADF converted application, it is much easier for me to maintain. But saying that, it doesn't mean that the person who does not know Oracle Form will not be able to. We have developers in-house here who have never worked on Oracle Form, are working on this application and converting and doing projects for other clients and all those things. It is easily maintainable converted code basically. So if you go on customers, there are 5 blocks: convert, navigator, add customers, and add customers. These are all 5 blocks. At each level, you will see there is a file name with the name of the package. Like customer is the form name. There is a file which is called customers.java. That contains all the form level triggers, all the form level properties, alerts, program units, and all those things. If you go at the block level package, you will see that there are more item level packages. For example, a customer has all these items. Now you would say where the block level trigger would go. Basically, block level trigger would go the file with the name of the block.java. So that's the block level trigger file. Where all the block level triggers would go, like on populate, as I said, like the names are kept same, on check, delete, master, and all those things. So going back, I'm gonna just discuss very quickly about how alerts are defined. So you can see that alerts are defined the same way in the main file. It is like delete alert, name of the alert, what is it? It's a caution. What are the 2 buttons? Yes and no. What is the default button? What is the message for that alert is right here. So when you say show alert, delete alert, it will show this one basically on the screen. The next thing in this file you will see is that the form level trigger. So there are 3 forms: when window closed, when new form instance, like on master detail, or when new form instance, you can see, for example, this is how we have defined set application property menu buffering false. So it is the same thing, like set application property menu buffer false. And then the second thing is refresh tree. This is a program unit. So what you can do is there is a program unit. You can say, okay, go to the declaration, and it will take you directly there. For Oracle form, you cannot do anything something like that. Okay, double click this, and then it will open the program unit that is defined in Oracle form. And at least in Java, you can go to that declaration directly from there. So you don't have to look where it is. So once I open this program unit, which is the same file, you can see how it's been defined. Like what it is doing, it is using the add group column, create group, all the functionalities to group the to display this part of the tree structure basically. And there are other program units that you can use. So it's basically one-to-one migration that we are doing from Oracle Forms to this one. We are using our own libraries, and I don't know if Matt has defined or explained to you like these libraries that are attached here that are doing all these functionalities. Like when you say show alerts, you don't have to define completely where show alert is. That is already defined in one of the library in our framework basically. So the sources are provided for that depending upon the license agreement, and you are allowed to customize depending upon what you want to do in your shop and all those things, or we can do it for you. The last thing normally I show in this demo is how it looks in ADF. Like for example, this is the code. If you go in here, this is the JSF file. If I see the source, this is the JSF source for this area right here, because this is the stack canvas with the tab in here. That's how it shows. So for example, I will just quickly show it here on this side. So that's how it shows in here. If I see on the design side of this one, so you can use whatever design you want to do and do specific. So I would actually, Matt were you able to hear me properly? I think this.
Yeah, yes, the sound wasn't ideal, but I think folks were able to follow along well enough. Unfortunately, we made a decision to try on this WebEx doing just voice over IP,
Okay.
and we didn't plan ahead thinking that Khalid uses a demo machine. We have this demo environment set up on a machine, and it's not necessarily ideal for voice over IP. It sounds like he's in a submarine or on the other side of the world, but he's just in our Calgary office in Canada. But just unfortunately for voice over IP, our demo machine's more geared towards the conversion and not for a microphone to VoIP. But that's okay. I think we're able to manage through it. Was there anything else you were going to show before we go to Q&A?
That's basically what I normally show. So you can take the control and we can go through Q&A. And if there is any question, I can come back if we have to show something more.
Great. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open it up for Q&A. And we'll just take a minute to give you a chance to post questions. Again, use the Q&A button. That's the one with the question mark. We have the chat as well, but there's a lot of folks from all around the world on today. It just makes it easier for Khalid and I to look in the one Q&A tab to get through all the questions. And we'll go quiet for a second, and then we'll start going through the questions. Okay, so first question, Halid, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so the first question is someone noticed that the text files, TXT files, were used as the inputs for the conversion. So that's
Yes.
not really quite a question, but I think the question is why do we use text files?
Yes. The reason to use the text file is to avoid any using any Oracle APIs for binary format like SMB or DLL or MMB, basically because every version from version 3 to 10G or 11G, the binary APIs are changed, and we did not want to include all different binary APIs to make the conversion too complicated. So what we do is we create the text file, and the text files are same format for all the versions. So that is much easier for maintenance purposes for the conversion tool as for the runtime. And there are processes available that you can convert like the text files in one shot. Like there are batch files you can create that can create the text file for you. And if needed, we normally help you out with those things.
All right. Next question. Also, the library was a PLD type, D as in David?
There's the same reason for that one. So.
Okay.
Those libraries are PLLs are the binary format, and we use the PLD, which are the text format of those libraries.
Okay. Next question. Is Cyphersoft your tool for migration of forms to ADF? Yes, just to clarify again, what we showed in this demonstration was the migration of the forms application into Java and ADF. The presentation layer was converted into ADF components and controls. The business logic and data persistence layer is just straight Java. It's not specific to ADF components, if you will. But all of this is generated into Java files, as you saw, and can be used or modified and extended in any Java IDE. Halid used JDeveloper. That's what we use internally. But we have customers that use Eclipse, and I think we even have someone that's using the Rational editor as well. So anyway, there are options there. Next question. I didn't see how the jar file was created.
So basically, when we in the conversion process, we create the WAR file, not the jar file. The framework jar files were already created before for conversion process.
Oh, he said he's already come back and said, sorry, I meant the WAR file.
Yes. Okay. So WAR file there is a conversion process, which is called Java AE module template. And what it does, whatever is being converted, it bundles everything up in an order that is required for the application server deployment. So it takes the converted code, it takes the presentation layer, also it takes all the configuration files, which includes how the database would be, how the user would be connected to the database connection string, and all those things, and create a WAR file. Once the WAR file is created, we just drop it in application. There are different ways of deploying the application through WAR file. For Tomcat, you just have to drop that WAR file under WebApp and start Tomcat, and it will automatically deploy the application. For WebLogic, there are like console management enterprise system where you can select the WAR file, you give some options, and it goes from there. So that's basically what we do.
All right. Next question. Is it compatible with the latest Oracle ADF features like page fragments? And then it says task foes. I'm wondering if that's supposed to be rows, task rows. So is it compatible with the latest Oracle ADF features like page fragments and task flows? There, I got it now. Sorry about that.
So, what we are using the latest ADF development framework, basically, which is 11.1.2.3. That's the one we use, which allows the partial rendering of the pages. And I'm not like the one of the ADF developers, but we can note this question down for the specific ADF developer to answer you back. But as far as I know, page fragmentation is part of what we are developing as we speak. I'm not sure about task flows if we have that features in there at this time or not.
Okay. Okay, the next question. Do you know if there are issues with using the output in an SSO setup?
SSO setup? I don't think so. We have customers who have done the SSO setup with the converted code, and there is a configuration file that you can use for that purpose. Actually, you can pass your SSO setup like single sign-on and go from their application. But normally it is part of the customer who utilize their SSO setup, and we sometimes, if needed, we help them out in that process.
All right. Here's another question. Can you send the original recorded webinar? Yes. What we're going to do is we've recorded this webinar. We will be making it available on our website and on YouTube. Not everyone has permissions to use YouTube at work, so it is available just viewing through our website in a browser as well. That should be posted by tomorrow, I think, on our website. And I'll bring that up. I need to turn control back over here. Hold on one second. But if you go to our website at www.composertechnologies.com, then you can go under resources and events, and you'll find the recorded webinars. And if the sound was just too unbearable for you, there was an ADF webinar that we recorded in November. I think November. No, January wasn't the ADF one though, Halid.
Okay.
Yeah, the last one we did in January just showed a straight. We have a non-ADF version where you can view it in a browser. That's the January one. But then we did an ADF one just like this in November, and that recording was done without the voice over IP, and should be a much clearer recording as well. And that's available as well. That's the website. I just brought up the website for you. It's composertechnologies.com. So it will be available as a recording for you as well. Any other questions? It looks like we're at the, here is one. How does this work for converting multiple forms?
Like it does the same thing. For example, like as we just showed in Summit application, there were 3 forms, and when you are converting, you have a choice either to, like for example, if you have 100 or 200 forms, you have a choice either to convert them all together in a one shot, or you can take pieces. For example, what we do when we start a project, we see, okay, let's see what is the first form, and take 5 or 6 more forms with that first form that would drive those 5 forms. If we convert them, we set them up. We see how the outlook screen would look like, and if there is any modification that needs to be done in those 5 or 6 forms, we globally do the modification. And then once we have a criteria, then we take a rest of the forms and we start converting all those forms from there onward. Because this approach is much better than taking 100 forms and deploying and finding, oh, we should have done this before converting, or we should have done that thing actually, and then you have to go back and modify all those and reconvert them. To avoid that, take a small piece, convert that, then take the rest of the pieces.
All right. Any other questions? Oh, here's one. If a form which calls a user exit, which is using C++, how does this deal with the conversion to ADF?
User exits are as Matt was saying, like we have other versions than ADF, and user exits are supported in those versions. ADF is basically an HTML page, so most of the client components do not work, and what we normally suggest and have done for other clients is to rewrite those user exits as Oracle packages or some other Java code, and then call it or a Java script and use it on the client machine.
Right, and just to add on to that, there are some things that don't get converted automatically. And there's an analyzer as part of the tool that identifies all of those. You would run these forms, or we would run the forms through our analyzer, or if you license the tool, you could do that. And it would identify things that you have to go through that it's not going to convert automatically. In some cases, there are things like these user exits, especially in the case of ADF. And as Khalid mentioned, you know, there were two different approaches there. In some cases, it's just things you have to make a decision on now that you're moving into this Java architecture. So there's just some things that shouldn't be converted automatically that you have to make some decisions on. And we actually have best practices for those. In fact, we have a document that outlines the different types of things that don't get converted automatically and provides examples of how they're addressed. But those all do get addressed in a migration project to move over. There isn't anything that, you know, is like, okay, there's just no alternative. But sometimes the alternative for some of it is to rewrite that portion. Okay, next question. What version of Oracle Forms, the FMVs, does this tool work with? And in their question, they ask, you know, 6i, 10G, or 11G. The answer is it works with all of those releases. In fact, some people are surprised to hear that a lot of our customers are actually converting over from Forms 6i. But we have customers where they're converting from 10G. It will convert 11G. And we've even done older versions of Forms as well for conversion to Java. We've done conversion from Forms 4.5, and we've even done conversion from, when I say 4.5, 4.5, we've even done conversion from Forms 3, where it's the character-based, but there's a kind of an intermediate step that has to be done where you upgrade it into 6 and then convert it with our tool from there. Next question: if a form calls another form through a form trigger, is it okay? Will it convert automatically, or does it need to be manually adjusted? Are you there, Khalid?
I'm here. So, like for example, like when we are converting, and the framework takes care of all the global variables, all the parameters, arguments, and as well as the system variables. So, for example, if you are calling one form from another form, it is like as we have seen in this demo, the customer form was calling order form. So, by double clicking on one of the three nodes, we were able to fire a trigger which is called when mouse double click, and that mouse double click is setting up some parameters before calling the order form. So it calls order form after that basically. So that's how the structure was done. Yeah, and I got the. I'm gonna just quickly show it to you guys. So for example, this is the customer form, and for example, so here I double click it and it opens the form, and you can see that it has already executed the values because these values are passed from the customer form to order form through parameters. Like parameters are added and then they are called with parameter ID. So you can either call with parameters or you can set up the global variables and then call the form, and form take those global variables, and on those global variables it can execute the query depending upon the criteria set in the global variables.
Okay, let me go back here to the Q&A. Next question. How does the report integration within the forms work? So one thing we should clarify is that the tool does not convert the reports into Java. Our customers do one of two things. Either one, they call the Oracle reports as is from the converted Java application. And there is some integration work that has to be done there, but it's very straightforward. We've done it for some of our customers, and some of our own customers do it themselves. The other option is some of our customers have a reporting solution they've standardized on, whether it's something like business objects or Cognos or Crystal, and they just rewrite their reports in those reporting solutions, or in a Java, reporting solution like Jasper, for example. And again, there's a little bit of integration work that has to be done for those reports in with the Java application. But that's the beauty of having a Java application now. It's one of the easier technologies to do integration with. There are some utilities out there to help with converting reports. And actually, we've worked with some of them with some customers. But what we've found along with our customers is that if your reports have any significant business logic in them, you end up having to rewrite the report anyway. The utilities help with some very basic things. But again, either you're rewriting it in whatever reporting solution you want to go to as your target, or you can call the reports as is from the Java application. All right, well, we've gone to an hour now, so we're going to go ahead and close up the webinar. We want to thank you for participating and getting through it with us on the voice over IP audio. And the recording will be available. When you exit out, you will see a little 3-question screen come up. Please give us your feedback. If there are particular items you'd like to see addressed in the next webinar, let us know. Let us know what you thought. Is this the content you're expecting? Were there other things that were left unquestioned for you? Just let us know, and we'll have the appropriate contact follow up with you, get you the information you need, and let us know how we did. So thanks again, and have a great day.